If you've ever had that nagging, just persistent tendon pain in your knee, your elbow, your Achilles, wherever, you know how unbelievably frustrating it is, right? It feels like you try everything and it just never, ever gets better. But what if I told you that the way we've all been taught to think about healing tendons is, well, it's just wrong? Let's get into it.
For the longest time, for years, the common wisdom in the rehab world was that once a tendon was damaged, that's it. Game over. The idea was it just didn't have enough blood flow to actually heal. So the best you could hope for was to kind of strengthen everything around it. That damage was seen as a permanent weak link in the chain. Yeah, that whole idea, it has been completely, and I mean completely debunked. We now know for a fact that tendons can absolutely heal, they can remodel, and they can come back even stronger than they were before. And look, this is the proof right here. On the left, you're looking at an MRI from an NBA player's knee. See that white spot? That's tendinopathy. That's damaged, dysfunctional tissue. Now look at the picture on the right. Just 18 months later, the white spot, it's gone. It's been replaced by healthy tissue. And not only that, the entire tendon is visibly thicker. So healing isn't just some theory. We can literally see it happen. So that brings up a huge question. Why do so many of the common rehab exercises, the stuff we've always been told to do, why do they fail or sometimes even make things worse? To figure out what works, we first got to understand what doesn't.
And it all comes down to this really key concept called stress shielding. Okay, so think about it like this. When you do a fast, explosive movement, like a jump or a sprint, your body is smart. It instinctively tries to protect that sore, weak spot in your tendon. So what does it do? It shifts the load to all the healthy parts of the tendon. They take all the force, effectively putting up a shield around the injury. And the result? The part that actually needs the healing stimulus gets none, and you just keep irritating it. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If all the jumping and the explosive stuff isn't the right answer for healing, what is? What's the right kind of work we need to be doing?
And the answer, believe it or not, is incredibly simple. Isometrics. All this means is a static muscle contraction. You're just holding a position totally still. And get this is the exact method they use to heal that NBA player's tendon we just saw. It's not about being fast and powerful. It's about applying a slow, sustained, and controlled force. Okay, so how do you actually use isometrics the right way? Because just holding a position isn't enough. It all boils down to three really important pillars. If you get these three things right, you basically create the perfect recipe for your tendons to heal and get super strong. Let's break them down. Here they are: time, tension, and volume. These are the three non-negotiables. You can think of it like baking a cake, right? You need the right amount of flour, sugar, and heat. If you mess up one ingredient, the whole thing just doesn't work. It's the same with your tendons. Let's start with the first one: time. The research is pretty clear on this. The sweet spot for an isometric hold seems to be right around 30 seconds. That's the magic number. It's long enough for this thing called stress relaxation to happen. Basically, it allows the muscle to slowly adapt and transfer that healing load directly onto the tendon tissue that needs it most. So, holding for 30 seconds is a great start. But let's be real, if you're not actually challenging yourself during that hold, you're not going to see any results. And that brings us to our second pillar, which is honestly absolutely critical. Pillar number 2 is tension, and this one is a game changer. To actually signal your tendon to start rebuilding itself, the load has to be heavy. We're talking around 70% of your maximum effort. This shouldn't be a comfortable, easy hold. It needs to be genuinely difficult. This is the stimulus that screams at your body, hey, we need to make this tissue stronger. And this analogy just says it all, right? You wouldn't walk into a gym, pick up a tiny 2-pound dumbbell, do a few curls, and expect to build massive biceps. Of course not. The same exact logic applies here. A weak, low-effort hold just won't send a strong enough signal for your tendon to adapt. You've got to load it up. And finally, let's talk about the last pillar, volume. You have to do enough work over time for it to stick. So the general guideline is to aim for about 3 to 6 sets in a session, and do that about 3 times a week or every other day. Now, managing pain is also super important. It's actually okay, and even a good thing, to feel a little bit of pain during the exercise, say up to a 4 out of 10. But here's the golden rule. That pain has to go back down to your normal baseline level within 24 hours. If it doesn't, you push too hard. Okay, we've covered a lot of the why. Now let's put it all together. Let's build a simple, straightforward action plan that you can actually use. Here it is, your cheat sheet. It's this simple.
30-second holds at about 70% of your max effort for 3 to 6 sets, and you're going to do this 3 times a week. This formula gives your body both the intense stimulus it needs to rebuild and the 48 hours of rest it needs for that new collagen to actually form. This is the blueprint.
Now, what's so amazing about this framework is that it's not just for patellar tendons. Not at all. These core principles, time, tension, and volume, this is a universal language for building strength in any tendon in your entire body. So think about it. If you've got Achilles pain, what do? Heavy isometric calf raises. Got tennis elbow? Heavy isometric wrist extensions? Bicep tendon bothering you? You could do an isometric hold on a bench press. Even for rock climbers, doing isometric hangs on a hangboard, it's the exact same principle to make your finger tendons bulletproof. Once you get the concept, you can apply it literally anywhere. Now, before we wrap this up, I've got one more little piece of the puzzle for you. It's a bonus tip, and this one has to do with what you're putting into your body. It's about food for your tendons.
So in a lot of these research studies, the athletes were also using a specific nutrition protocol to give their tendons an extra boost. And here's what they did. About 30 to 60 minutes before their training, they would take 15 grams of gelatin, which is just a type of collagen, along with some vitamin C. The idea is to flood your system with the building blocks of collagen right before you create the stimulus to use them.
But of course, I have to put a big disclaimer here. This is just me sharing what they did in the research. This is absolutely not medical advice. You should always talk to your doctor before you start taking any new supplements, okay? So, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. Healing your tendons and building real, lasting strength, it's not a mystery. It isn't about luck or just hoping for the best. It is a direct, predictable result of applying the right kind of stimulus consistently over time.
So you have the blueprint now. You understand the science of time, tension, and volume. That knowledge is yours. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? Your tendon strength is in your hands. How are you going to build it?